As far as the want to speak, it's finding the thing that you're passionate about where you almost can't keep quiet about it. And I
Mhm.
think that's what it was for me with the complaint-free movement is I was so passionate about what I was learning from Will that I talked everyone's ear off about it. If you want to share your story, bring some inspiration to the world, and there's something you're passionate about, I think the stage is a great place for that. There's a lot of opportunity now for people who, like we're doing right now, you can sit here in your pajama pants and you can give a great presentation and talk, inspire the world, and make some extra money.
Hey there, I'm Kaylin Wood, and this is Money Matters for Moms, the show where busy moms turn overwhelm into abundance. Each week we'll talk side hustles, saving hacks, wealth tips, and some energy tips to help make it all stick. Real tools for real financial freedom. No ramen required. Let me introduce you to Wendy Babcock, an international and TEDx speaker. She's sharing her passion to create a complaint-free world. Wendy has also founded the Kindness Bucket Brigade, a Facebook group dedicated to eliminating online bullying and spreading compassion. She's been published in Reader's Digest and the Wisconsin State Journal and appeared on major television networks like ABC, NBC, and Fox 47. Wendy is also known as the paid stage speaking coach, and she helps female entrepreneurs add profitable speaking to their businesses to create another stream of income. Wendy, I have to say, I love your focus on positivity and promoting kindness. That is so important these days.
Thank you. It's important to me too. There's so much negativity in the world. And I think we tend to lose focus on what's really important is kindness and looking at the good things in life because there's so much to see.
Absolutely. And so, how did you get started in the paid speaking world?
Interestingly, I never sought it out. I worked in the hospital for 20 years and I would listen to audiobooks while I worked. And I was in a place in my life where I was really trying to get rid of negativity in my life and bring in more positivity. So I listened to personal development books while I worked. And a movement came up in a book called A Complaint Free World. I thought, this is amazing because what's more negative that we do than complain? So I was really drawn to it. And I went to Facebook to see who the author was. His name was Will Bowen. And I call it fate. But that day when I went to Facebook, he posted, I'm looking for 10 people to do what I do. I want to train speakers to share this movement of a complaint free world because I'm only one person. He'd already been on Oprah, People Magazine, major publications as well. And he says, I'm not reaching as many people as I want to share this message with. I had no interest in becoming a speaker, but I applied. Part of me was thinking, they're not going to pick me, right?
Right.
And then they did. And I said, oh boy, okay. So I went through all of Will's training. And that was in January 2017. And by September that year, I quit my full-time job.
Wow.
I was just kind of thrown into the fire pretty much.
It sounds like you took to it like duck to water, right?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And Will did an excellent job training all of us that went through his program. He literally handed us a speaking business in a box. We had everything we needed, but plus we had the topic most people struggle with, their signature talk. And so he literally gave us everything we needed to be successful.
And so he trained you to give his talk, or did he train you to give your version of his talk?
It's our version of his talk. So those who are certified complaint-free trainers, we follow kind of the same format and how we teach, like why complaining's bad, the 5 reasons why we complain, and how to stop ourselves and others from complaining. And then we interject our own stories that go with each thing that we're teaching. So it's our talk, but with his lessons.
Okay. And so before you got started in giving the talk, did you have to train yourself how to not complain any longer?
I did. So Will brings the 21-day complaint-free challenge. And it took me 6 months to complete it. It takes the average person 4 to 8 months. But I thought, I'm positive, right? No problem. I'll do this in 21 days because the idea is to go 21 days consecutively without complaining. And the average person complains 15 to 50 times a day.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And so I surprised myself that it took me so long. I thought, wow, I did not think I complained that much. But when you're really focused on what you're saying, you hear it.
Interesting. Well, and I guess it's even something like, wow, the weather doesn't look so great today.
You can make statements of things that are fact because we say if you stick to the facts, they're always neutral. Facts are neutral. But it's that whiny, gripey, like, oh man, can't believe it's raining out again. You can say it's raining out and it's not a complaint, but it's when you complain and you gripe and it's that poor me, the world's out to get me attitude. That's the complaining that we talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the fact is that as you raise your vibration up because you're becoming a more positive person, then you're attracting more positive things to you.
Exactly. And that's what I found is that my world kind of opened up. So yeah, I was being trained to be a speaker, but something bigger was happening as I was doing that complaint free challenge. And I think that's what kind of catapulted me into that place where things started to not fall apart at my job, but I was less happy with my job. I'd been there for 20 years. I loved my job. And then all of a sudden, probably the final 6 months, I just didn't want to go into work. And that wasn't like me. Little things would come up, little annoyances and things. And I'm just not happy anymore here. And then opportunities opened up for me to speak more. And it was just kind of that choice. Like, if I want to pursue this, I have to quit this job and take that big risk. And so that's what I did.
Right. Well, it sounds like in order for you to complete the 21-day challenge, you had to quit that job.
Pretty much, yeah.
For you, it was that you were drawn to the topic and the topic led you into completing the challenge, and that led you into having this, speaking in a box opportunity handed to you. But that's not going to happen for most people.
Right.
How do most people get interested in getting paid to speak?
Well, kind of what happened with me. So even though I was speaking on Will's topic, there came a point where I thought, I kind of want to have my own thing. I want to bring something else that I'm really passionate about. And so I kind of fumbled around trying to figure out what that was, So when you talked about the Kindness Bucket Brigade, when that took off, I did speak at schools about bringing more kindness to the world and trying to drown out online bullying. And I kind of went that direction, but then I'm like, I don't know if this is my thing. So sometimes it's just trial and error and figuring it out. But as far as the want to speak, it's finding the thing that you're passionate about where you almost can't keep quiet about it. And I think that's what it was for me with the complaint free movement is I was so passionate about what I was learning from Will that I talked everyone's ear off about it. And then finding the stories and the examples that go with it, because storytelling is most of speaking. And most of us having, crazy stories we could talk about our lives with the people that we know. So, I mean, if you have a will to want to share your story, bring some inspiration to the world, and there's something you're passionate about, I think the stage is a great place for that.
That is fantastic. And so how do you help people to get started getting paid to speak instead of sitting on the sidelines?
There's basically 4 types of speaking. If you're an entrepreneur, you have service-based business, you can speak for free and then give an offer or a lead magnet from the stage. The second way is pay to play, which is you're sponsoring a stage, you're paying to be on the stage of your ideal client is in the audience. You can create your own stage, hosting your own events, masterclasses, webinars, Facebook Live. And then there's getting paid to speak, which is where I kind of shine. It's associations, businesses, schools, universities that are bringing people in. And so what I teach them is basically everything that I've learned and all the different things that have worked specifically for me. I still kind of bring in what Will's taught me, but the speaking arena has really evolved since I started with him. So now I've built all of these tools up that I can share with women, especially if they're in that service-based industry. Maybe they're doing MLMs and they might be speaking, doing Facebook Lives, that counts as speaking, but they're not making ends meet still. The paid speaking is a great source of additional income because now you get to control how often do I want to travel? Do I want to stay more local to me? So I teach them the different tools of how to find the paid speaking gigs, how much to charge, how to craft their signature talk, and then everything that goes with it. There's a lot behind the scenes that goes on in the speaking industry.
So it sounds like you could help people who want to work from home and not go on actual physical stages.
Yeah, because there's definitely virtual opportunities. As far as the paid arena, it's both right now, because even some larger associations are doing maybe a virtual event in the spring and then an in-person in the fall or vice versa. So we're seeing the trend of virtual is not going away and live in person are coming. So before it was uneven, like before the pandemic, there was hardly any virtual, but everything was in person.
Right.
Pandemic happened, it did this. And now we're seeing the trend of now they're both here to stay. And so there's a lot of opportunity now for people who, like we're doing right now, you can sit here in your pajama pants and you can give a great presentation and talk, inspire the world and make some extra money.
I always thought that getting paid to speak, you had to be somebody like Oprah or, someone like that, but that's not true.
Correct. And, I had that thought too, because Will had been in Oprah, he'd been in People and all these different things. And I thought, can I really do this? And then when I started learning how to go out and do the reach outs, the thing is celebrities get paid a lot more than the average motivational speaker, of course. Sure. And so a lot of places don't have those big budgets. A lot of places are in that sweet spot of $2,500 to $7,500 for speakers, what their budget is. And that's where I fall in. And so there's a lot of opportunity for people because when I started speaking, I wasn't a celebrity, still not a celebrity. I didn't have a following. I was on social media, but I didn't have a big social media presence. Nobody knew me. But yet I was reaching out to, like I said, associations, corporations, businesses, and I was getting hired. So does it help a little bit? Maybe if you're more well known, you'll get referred more, but to start out, you don't need any of that.
That's great to know. Tell me about the program that you run, the boot camp.
Yeah. So what I've been doing is I originally, when I started teaching and coaching this, I was doing a 6-month program, but then I had people coming to me and saying, Wendy, I don't have 6 months. I want to learn this now. And so I condensed it into a 3-day boot camp. So day one, I take them and I limit it to 10 people in the boot camp. We work one-on-one in a group setting. We figure out your signature talk. What is it that you could, and I always say it's something that you geek out on. It's what I do. When I talk about paid speaking, I could talk someone's ear off about it. So it's what do you geek out on? What can you teach? Let's figure out which audiences you need to be in front of. We craft your signature talk or get the outline done. And then on day 2, I walk you through my entire email strategy and how I get paid speaking gigs, where to find them, what to say in the emails. And then on day 3, what we do is, because as a speaker, you need a speaker reel, you need testimonials. Everybody gets to give a 5 to 15-minute presentation. And what's great about it is you get that footage to edit for a speaker reel, but then everyone on that call gives a testimonial. So now you have your signature talk, you have all the tools you need to get paid to speak. And now you have a speaker reel and you have testimonials just to get yourself started.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a pretty deep dive into it. And when I say it's 3 days, they're not full days because I kind of have ADHD and I can't sit for 8 hours at a time and learn anymore. So they're 3 to 4 hours each day, depending on if we have 5 people in the boot camp or 10.
Got it.
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges that people run into when they're trying to start into paid speaking?
I think the biggest challenge is we're so used to that instant gratification in this world of, TikTok and social media that this is not a get rich quick type of scheme. Getting paid to speak, there's some work behind the scenes. You have to apply. It's a numbers game. I think people get very discouraged when they start looking for speaking gigs and they're getting a lot of no's or they're getting crickets. If they're sending emails, they're not hearing any responses, or it's just no, no, no repeatedly. And that's hard to hear. But what happens is they get discouraged and then they stop doing it. And then they just are like, well, paid speaking's not for me. Nobody wants to hear my talk. But it's a matter of just being persistent with it and just keep applying and maybe try different tactics. So I teach how to email, but sometimes you have to put your own spin on things for what's going to work for you. And then finding which audiences truly need. Might be universities, might be associations. Maybe it's small businesses. So it's just figuring out where your talk is and then what audience needs to hear that.
Great. So you're actually helping them find out what their own personal obstacles are and then customizing that training for them.
Exactly. And that's why it's important to me, even though it's a group coaching with the boot camps, I work with everyone one-on-one because I want them to have that specific advice and suggestions that I can give them so that I want them to hit the ground running. I want them to be so successful. I don't want them to take a course or invest and then get a couple no's and not do anything with it,
Because if you have something inside you that really needs to get out, but you're not allowing yourself that opportunity, it's taking that possibility away from other people.
And that's just it. When you're quiet, the world goes without your voice. Your story and your voice needs to be heard. If you even keep having that little, like a tickle or a tap on the shoulder to get on stages and speak and share something, just do it. Because as we just talked about, when you hold back, the world goes without. And so if you're getting that tap, just let the world hear your voice and your story.
Love it. Wendy, it's been great speaking to you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks for tuning in to Money Matters for Moms. I hope today's episode left you inspired to take one little step forward. Check out the resources in the show notes and share this with another mom who's ready to thrive. You've got this, because abundance is easier than you might think.